All right, we are here with LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels, coming off a year where you win the SEC West, you transfer in, win the job, win the SEC West. Now you're going into your second year in the SEC. My first question for you, Jaden, is, and I'm not asking you to down the conference you were in, but coming from where you were to the SEC, can you just explain to our audience the difference in the defenses you went against within the conference?
I'll say the defense is going against guys like Mason Smith and Will Anderson and those type of guys, and how big they are and how much of a freak athlete they are. That's the biggest difference for me. And then, it all starts up front. If the D-line can get pressure, you're going against those big monsters each and every week, having to run away from them. It makes it easier for the secondary. But, I played some great players in the Pac-12. But, nothing compares to how big those guys are in the SEC, how fast they can move for being that big and that size.
Yeah, it's basically just a bunch of aliens running around, Jaden. We see it too, but it's a lot different when you're sitting in that pocket. But, something we've talked about on the show and something that I noticed in your game, and I think it really helped you guys offensively open up, is it seemed about halfway through the year, maybe a little bit before that, you really started attacking down the field. It looked like the vertical game really started opening up, because at the beginning of the year, it seemed like people were kind of playing you tight. It seemed like the box was heavy. Every time you threw underneath, there were two guys there. Can you talk about just trusting that adjustment, being able to utilize that deep third of the field, and what it meant to you guys offensively? Because it seemed like after that, Malik Neighbors was open on every third down and medium that there was.
It meant a lot. Obviously teams are going to play us based off my skill set, being able to run the ball with my legs. And daring us to throw the ball deep. We have to earn their respect. We have to test them. If we don't test them, then they're just going to keep running the same defense. And if we test them vertically, it opens up a lot of things. We hit a couple shots or we get a couple pass interferences. It changed the mindset of the defensive coordinator and how they want to attack us on different situations. So, midway through the season, we started taking those shots deep down the field more. Teams started to respect us and started backing up, started to respect our receivers and knowing that we could run past them if they want to press us. And if not, we could take anything underneath. And you got to account for another asset in our offense.
Definitely.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say, man, the chain,
yeah, it's
and
shining
the
right
chain
now.
are absolutely proper.
It's
the
shining.
man's best dressed so far, 100%.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I bet the kicks are gas too. You have the offense. We saw you grow.
Yeah.
We saw you grow, which was phenomenal. But one thing, it has to be comfortable when it comes to the quarterback. When you look at the other side of the ball in your own team, guys like Perk, guys like Mason, who's coming back. How good does it feel to be a quarterback, even if you have a bad drive, right? To know that you have those type of cats running around defense that are probably going to get you the ball back in a couple plays.
It feels great. We got Mekhi Wingo sitting right next to us. Him and Mason Smith. A lot of people, Mason didn't play last year.
I know.
And celebrate, man. Did you tell him not to celebrate this year?
Oh, no. He knows no celebrating.
Yeah.
Just make the tackle,
100%.
turn back around. But not him, and then you got Harold Perkins and what he did last year.
Yeah.
They're all just, like you said, aliens just running out there on defense. I don't know what it is in the water in Louisiana.
It's something, man.
But obviously I wish I could have drunk that when I was younger. But
You got some. You were by a power plant or something.
I got a little bit. But what they breed out in the South, is different. You got those type of guys, and you got guys like Malik Neighbors that are just freak athletes.
Absolutely.
So, I'm excited to see what they do on defense this year.
Going into year two, all right, being the experience that you have now under your belt, you come out, you have a phenomenal first year with Coach Kelly. Being a leader and a quarterback that you are, especially in the locker room, how do you keep those guys' minds right and keep them in the right lane? Every week matters. You're week one versus Florida State, who's a phenomenal team. What type of mindset do you walk into?
We got to walk in with the mindset we got a target on our back.
Yeah.
Really just go out there and know that if we don't prepare the right way or we don't have the right focus and energy towards what we want to accomplish, that we could get beat. Florida State is a very tough opponent to start off the season with once again. And like I said, if we don't go there with the right mindset or prepare the right way, it could end up looking ugly. Just how explosive their offense is and how good they are on defense. That could set a tone for them, and it's a tone setter for week one of how everybody's season is going to go.
100%. Spoken like a true quarterback.
Yep. First off, how you feeling, man? How's the rehab been going throughout the offseason?
It's been great. Everybody's getting back healthy, coming back off my ankle injury, getting back healthy and really going through spring and putting on more weight, filling out more, and then so I could take those type of hits during the season. But offseason has been great.
That's good, man. I remember watching you at Arizona State. You were one of the few quarterbacks who would still line up under center because it seems like everything is in the shotgun now. We can get into that, but you guys brought in Logan Diggs from Notre Dame, who I know Coach Brian Kelly recruited when he was there. How's that going to change up what you guys do schematically on the offense?
He's going to help out a lot, with more depth with the running back position, being able for him to go out there and be a home run hitter. Anytime he gets the ball, he runs tough in between the tackles. Very intelligent. That's what we need from our running backs is to be intelligent because in certain situations, pass blocking, I might change the protection, might turn it a different way. You got to know who to block. If they blitzing, you got to know where your keys are, who you're looking at, what way you're looking at. So, he's very smart with that. Obviously, he went to Notre Dame for a reason. So you got to be very intelligent to get to Notre Dame. And he's comfortable with Coach Kelly. Played for him, so he knows what to expect.
Definitely. Well, Jayden, man, thanks for stopping by. I know you're a busy man.
Thank you.
Look, congrats on last year. I know you guys are excited about this year, and we're going to be watching, man, rooting for you.
Appreciate it.
Tell you, watch out for that Heisman, too.
Yeah.
Watch out now.
Appreciate it.
All right, make sure you subscribe.
And you can take your style to the next level with Indochino. You see what I did there? Because look, dressing for success, it can help you look better and be more confident. And if you're listening on audio right now, you can't see this beautiful picture that's up, but look at these suits. Okay, you need a good suit. Okay, and typically suits are super expensive, but we got a great deal for you, and they just don't do suits. That's not what the only thing they do. It's business casual, dress shirts, camp shirts. We know tailgating's coming up. They've got great shirts for tailgates and even blazers like they play for UAB. Indochino offers a wide variety of options for every occasion, as I mentioned. David, you ordered a suit?
I did. I ordered a gray suit.
So the process was super duper easy?
Yep, it was. Measured me out, fits perfectly, and wore it to a wedding.
Blaine, you got a couple shirts you've worn to some barbecues from Indochino.
Absolutely. Look, I like to look stylish. All right,
you do.
You got to. I mean, what's more stylish than rocking that Indochino, especially on a Wednesday?
Stylish with no stylist. Indochino is my stylist.
Wow.
Their camp shirts, like I said, they're the perfect addition to your summer wardrobe. So take your style to the next level with Indochino. That's Indochino. Because if you go to Indochino.com right now, and use our code BOOSTER, you get 10% off any purchase, $399 or more. And I'm telling you guys, if you want a good product and a good suit, that is not expensive at all. If you've lived in the human world, all right, or you've went outside and touched grass, you know that amount of money is not crazy when you're buying something that you're going to use for multiple occasions, that has great variety, and it lasts. That's the biggest thing. It's quality and it lasts. So go to Indochino.com, Indochino.com. Use that promo code BOOSTER. Pretty sure you guys know how to spell that to take your style to the next level. It's the talk of the town at SEC Media Days. And I love how open the SEC West is this year because typically it's who's going to have a chance to maybe knock off Alabama. Alabama's obviously going to be the favorite. It's going to be Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship game. But when you look at this division, LSU, to me, they check all the boxes. Up front, at the skill position, not only one returning legitimate quarterback, but we've seen what Garrett Nussmeier, who decided to stay in the crazy transfer portal era we live in, decided to stay and be the backup because we know Jayden Daniels, even though he's put on weight, he did get beat up a little bit last year. But David, when you look at this division, right now, LSU, I mean, with Brian Kelly going into year 2, same system, same phone, I know who this is.
This is what happens when you overperform in year 1. This is what happens when you come to the SEC and say, I came here to beat Nick Saban, and then you actually do it. LSU has to be the logical favorite to win the SEC West this year, which means somehow it will probably be Alabama since, college football is very illogical. But I loved a lot of points that you brought up there. They're done. They're past past the trial phase with Brian Kelly being an outsider and testing him. All of that is over now. Now it's time, you can just look, we won the SEC West. We can expand on that and maybe even win the conference, make the college football playoff now. I thought Brian Kelly's leadership, especially last year in specific scenarios where you saw with like Kayshon Boutte, who we thought might be one of the best wide receivers in the country last year, had some issues, was going to come back, then decided not to come back. I don't think they missed a step here. When you look at what Malik Neighbors is able to do at the wide receiver position, filling in right where they left off, it's going to be the combination of that offensive line that you mentioned and adding Logan Diggs, I believe, that's going to take so much pressure off of Jayden Daniels, which is why I was excited to ask him that question. Because that kid is a freight train. He's fast. He runs downhill. Adding him behind that offensive line, I think, is going to be able to make that offense even more lethal than they were last year and not make Jayden Daniels have to make every single play down the field.
For sure. And I didn't even bring up Mason Taylor at tight end. The young freshman going into a sophomore year, made some big catches last year down the stretch, caught the 2-point conversion when Brian Kelly and them went to, decided to go for 2, which I thought was a statement decision for Brian Kelly that showed you he's not going in there playing for the tie. And look, sometimes, you make decisions to try and tie the game and send it to overtime. I get that. But I thought that was a huge turning point for them last year. But Blaine, when you look at this team, when you look at the way that Jayden Daniels and them handled themselves, Wingo on defense as well at SEC Media Days. Brian Kelly didn't make a ton of waves, didn't have to. He came in throwing haymakers last year, but your thoughts on the Bengals?
Well, Brian Kelly's going to be business-like anyways. He's going to be like that SEC Media Days. And, he's walked into the conference not afraid of anything, and that shows that with his players. The big thing with me when it comes to last year, LSU team, just the growth of Jayden Daniels throughout the season. You didn't see Jaden pushing down the field early in the year last year. But you slowly saw Jalen get more comfortable with the offense, get more comfortable with the receivers. And the one thing Jaden doesn't do, if you go back and look at his stats, especially the games, he doesn't turn the ball over. And that's huge when it comes to SEC. 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You have 2 freshman tackles who are now growing into their sophomore year, who are only going to get better. I'm just really interested to see this run game and how it evolves. I don't think Jayden Daniels needs to be your leading rusher. I don't. To be consistent in the SEC, you do need a back between the tackles to win on first and second down, and then Jaden's feet can get involved. But this team goes as far as Jayden Daniels is going to take them. And talking to him at SEC Media Days, the kid's cool, calm, and collected, put on some weight, says his ankle is getting better, which is huge. I'm really interested to see what they look like week 1 versus Florida State.
Yeah,
might be one of the best games. It might be early, but it might be one of the best games of the year, hands down. Jayden Daniels, Jordan Travis, Brian Kelly against the Seminoles. Man, I can't wait. I wouldn't be surprised if LSU wins the West. But I'm telling you, there's nothing more dangerous than the Alabama team people don't believe in.
Yeah, and look, I get that, and Nick Saban's the master manipulator when it comes to that, and he doesn't really need to manipulate anybody this year. I think LSU is going to come out as a slight favorite. I do want to say, I think one of the most dangerous parts about LSU is, yes, Jayden Daniels can push them over the top. I think they can be at their maximum potential with Jayden Daniels. But if something happens to Jaden, and I hope it doesn't, and he has gained weight, but he's still wiry. Yeah. When you look at him, he's still not a big. Garrett Nussmeier's a good player. Yeah. Like Garrett Nussmeier could start at quarterback at a lot of places. That was a huge save for them. Because again, we know how the battle of attrition is, especially in the Southeastern Conference. So I think that gives you, it allows you to be a little bit more aggressive with Jayden Daniels from a play calling standpoint, especially in the red zone when you have a guy behind him that can come in and do it, and has shown you. He came in against Georgia last year in the SEC championship game and looked like he belonged. So I want to make sure we don't get lost on that point. Now, they do have to replace a lot of pass rushers. You look at B.J. Ojolari leaving, Ali Gay leaving, but it's LSU, all right? You see what they did in the transfer portal. I'm not worried about LSU being athletic enough on defense, and Mason Smith is and I don't use this term lightly, a lot of people throw it around, is a generational talent up front. Remember, he got hurt celebrating against Florida State last year. Early in that game, he's had over a year to recover. They said he looks fantastic. You talk about a guy that gets off the ball, uses his hands, is a big guy, but plays with good leverage. He's an NFL player. He's going to play in the league for a long, long time. Hey, YouTube, thanks for checking in with us. Make sure you subscribe. It's football season, baby. It's here. Whether it's college, whether it's the NFL, we got you covered like a warm blanket in the wintertime. So hit that like button, turn that notification bell on, and subscribe.